I know many of you are wondering where I and the rest of the Beancast have been. We were having issues before the coronavirus, which I can't get into right now. Just know that we are working on multiple pieces of content. It's a process for sure. We generally have a 6-month time frame between episodes. This is historically accurate with us. But I feel like we could definitely produce something every week. But I'm needed elsewhere. Chris is needed elsewhere. Adam's needed elsewhere. So we're only able to do what we can. One of the most important parts of our job is really getting pieces of work out there, artistic pieces of work that showcase why we love bean culture so much, why it's just so much a part of who we are as people. And I don't know, it just gives a particular comfort and calmness to the ever-changing life that we all live. It's just something I've always been able to take solace in. So we thought we'd release something quick. It's a solo piece. It's just me in the office right now. We really just want to share some of our favorite books in bean literature, many of which are overshadowed by similar pieces of fiction that other authors have gone on to write. You'll see some direct plagiarism, just with simple changes here or there. But these were written in every instance before the actual piece that you might recognize was made, which is disgusting, in my opinion. But regardless, they still exist. They haven't been shadow banned or destroyed. But it tells you a little something about people that, like myself, that love bean culture, that we're just so resilient that we'll overlook the blatant stealing that others have done and move on. Because honestly, at the end of the day, you create a piece of bean literature, a bean film, and people see it, people love it, people enjoy it, like myself, especially when I was younger. And that's really all you could ask. You can get rich off it, sure, but true bean advocates understand the purpose of what we do. So I thought I'd share a little bit of some of those with you today. One of my favorite books is The Beans of Wrath. To preface this, basically, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite books, some of Adam's and Chris's favorite books, and a little synopsis of that. Just so you look it up later, it might entice you. But the first one, like I was saying, Beans of Wrath, which is an inspiring story that was truly written of a farmer led to ruin during the Great Depression. After losing his spinach crop to the Dust Bowl, Toad Joad stumbled upon a group of local bean farmers unaffected by the drought. In order to save his family, Farmer Joad embarks on a quest to Lima, Peru, in order to win favor from the Bean Council, in order to start his own bean farm. A dark and lustrous take on the early 1940s bean farming culture that permeated the Midwest underground. Little did he know, Joad was going to get caught in the middle of the Second Bean War, one that had caused the drought in the first place. That is historical fiction. It's based loosely on true events, of course. Some of the parts had to be filled in, but it's like with any piece of history that's adapted to film or book. There's you got to give a little bit of give, a little bit of take. The next one, To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a Pulitzer Prize-winning novel about a local lawyer named Edemonicus Finch, caught up in a murder trial that was more than he bargained for. After a string of bean farmer murders in the late 30s, Caesar Vigna was captured and sentenced to life in prison. 20 years later, a copycat killer coined the Mockingbird began his reign of terror in the northwestern region of Chicago. After local authorities captured Caesar's son, Phileas, Finch is chosen as the last hope not to end up in prison for life or worse. Finch has to overcome his hatred for the Vigna family, as Caesar had murdered his father when he was but a sprout. Finch knows his son is being framed from the start and vows to figure out how and why this is happening. Little did he know, his actions would inspire the creation of the Big Bean statue that still rests in Chicago today. That one is probably my favorite, and it's obvious that To Kill a Mockingbird stole that, which is fine. Both are great books. Amazing books. However, To Kill a Mockingbird was written first. You can go back, check the archives, and you'll see that it was written first. I'm going to go one more with this episode. The Old Man and the Bean. An aging Saltiago once the most prominent man in his small Cuban town, decides to cast aside his life of wealth and health after he befriends a strange legume. With his new friend placed securely in his ear, Santiago no longer makes decisions for himself, but instead listens to the faint whispers of the mighty bean. As the bean and Santiago grow closer and more intimate with one another, his family begins to understand what the bean is teaching him, and more importantly, themselves. Again, these are 3 just examples of some of the literature that I grew up on. Chris, not so much as he is younger, but Adam for sure. Some of the works that inspired us. Because as many of you know, there is not that much exposure to being works of fiction, nonfiction, films, music. It's just not seen anymore. It really ever was. So again, I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to thank you for all the emails I get. Very understanding you guys are. Knowing that, with the work that we do behind the scenes, we have a lot on our plate, and when we get to these various episodes, just know that they'll be well worth the wait for sure. And a lot of heart, a lot of love goes into each episode as well. And we just wish we could get it out more episodes. But for right now, we'll do small things like this. Who knows? We might have some free time, as it were, to have some more episodes coming. And again, just continue to watch, continue to support. Our Venmo will be in the link below. It's not my personal one. It's the Beancast one. So all proceeds will go to local bean charities, and as well as some abroad. But again, thank you for listening. My name is Joel, and stay beanie.